and welcome to my storytelling space. My name is Joanne and a story is waiting. Join us, come in. And now if you're ready, the tale will begin. In the long ago, there were no stories on earth. Nyame, the sky god, kept them in a wooden box up in the sky kingdom. Many creatures had tried to bring the stories to earth, but none had been successful. One day, Anansi decided that he would try, and so he spun a silken thread up to the sky kingdom, and he climbed. Now when Nyame, the sky god, saw him, he said, "What are you doing here, you small, tiny creature?" And Anansi said, "I have come to ask the price of the stories." Well, Nyame laughed. He said, "What makes you think that you can pay the price of the stories when others so much stronger have tried and have not been successful?" "Well," said Anansi, "I would like to know what the price is." So Nyame looked at him and he said, "Well, the price are 3 tasks that you must do. First, you must bring me Onini, the python that swallows creatures whole. Second, you must bring me Osibo, the leopard with the long, sharp teeth. And third, you must bring me Mamboro, the hornets that swarm and sting." Anansi thanked Nyame and he bowed and he went back down his thread, and when he got down to earth, he went home and he went and found his wife Aso and he said, "Aso, can you think of a plan that would help me catch Onini, the python that swallows creatures whole?" Well, Aso thought for a bit and she said, "I will give you a plan." And the plan started with, find a very long palm branch. So the next morning, Anansi he found a very long palm branch. He went down to the river where Onini was usually to be found, and he laid that palm branch down on the ground. And then he began to argue with himself, standing right in front of the palm branch. He said, "She says he is longer than this palm branch. I say he is shorter. But she says he is longer. But I say he is shorter." Well, now Onini was listening, and he came out, and he said, "Anansi, what are you muttering about?" And Anansi said, "Well, my wife thinks that you are longer than this palm branch, and I think you are shorter." "Well, that's easy to figure out," said Onini, and he stretched himself out along that long palm branch. Well, as soon as he did, Anansi quickly went over and he spun those strong silken threads, attaching Onini to the long palm branch until the two were attached together. And then he carried this palm branch with Onini attached to it to the sky kingdom, and he put it down for Nyame. Well, Nyame looked at it and he said, "There remains what there remains." So Anansi went back down and he went straight back to his house and he asked his wife Aso if she could think of a plan to help him catch Osibo, the leopard with the long, sharp teeth. And she thought for a bit and, well, she gave him a plan which started with dig a great big pit. Well, the next morning Anansi woke up and he went out and he dug a great big deep pit. And then he put palm leaves over top so that you wouldn't know the pit was even there. And then he went and he hid behind a bush and he waited. Well, he didn't have to wait too long because Osibo was very hungry that morning and he came running, and he didn't see the pit because the leaves were hiding it, and he was in such a hurry that he fell into the pit, and when he got to the bottom, he knocked himself out. Well, quickly Anansi went into the pit and he took a branch with him and he quickly quickly spun those silken strong threads attaching Osibo to the branch. And then he carried the branch with Osibo attached to it to Nyame and gave it to him. Nyame said nothing except, "There remains what there remains." Anansi bowed and went back down the silken thread. And again he went home and found his wife Aso, and he said, "Aso, can you think of a plan to catch Momboro, the hornets that swarm and sting?" Well, she thought for a bit, and then she gave him a plan which started with find an empty gourd. Well, the next morning Anansi got up and he went and he looked all over and he found an empty gourd. And he made a little hole in it. And then he went to where there was a stream flowing by and he filled that gourd with water. He picked up a palm leaf and away he went looking and looking for a nest of the Momboro. And when he found it, he did two things. First, he sprinkled a little bit of that water from the gourd on top of the Momboro's nest. And then he put the palm leaf over top of his head and he poured the rest of the water right on top of that palm leaf. Well, the water just dripped and dripped and dripped down. And he quickly called, "Momboro, Momboro, it is raining so hard that your nest will be soaked and your wings will be so drenched that you won't be able to fly." Well, the Momboro came to the edge of their nest and they looked out. And what they saw were all those drops falling down from the palm leaf over Anansi's face and down. "It's so true," they said, and they swarmed out. And Anansi said, "Quick, come in my gourd. I will save you." And they swarmed over and they went right in the hole and right inside the now empty gourd. And quickly Anansi spun with his silken threads a stopper over top of the hole. And then he went up to Nyame and he put the Momboro there. Nyame looked down and then he called his counselors and he said, "Anansi has paid the price for the stories. Bring the wooden box." So the counselors went away and they came back carrying the wooden box full of stories. And Nyame passed it to Anansi. And Anansi bowed and he thanked Nyame, and then he took that wooden box down the silken thread to his house. And he and Aso opened up that box of stories and they learned every single story. And when they had all of those stories learned, they packed a bag and they set off through the land, telling stories to everyone they met. And of course, those people would tell stories to other people that they met. And soon the stories were spreading all over the earth from land to land. And of course, that is how I came to know this story of how stories came to earth. And now that story is yours, and you can tell someone else. Well, I hope you enjoyed that tale. It originally comes from Ghana, a country in Africa, and we thank the people there for that story because Anansi is a very, very well-known character in the folk tales of Africa, and it has spread to all different countries. Join me again as I will put stories on when I get a chance, hopefully 2 times a week. So thank you for joining me, and goodbye.